Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family.
Hey, this is Jeff Zog from the Dad Awesome podcast. I love the Crazy Cool family, and specifically I hopped into Basecamp, all of these resources, the video resources, the specific guides that let me put the names of my daughters and my wife, and just showing me visually, hey, am I making progress? What areas can I attend more to? So I'm so thankful. I want to encourage you guys to hop into Basecamp, sign up, dive into those first intro videos. It's been so helpful for my family.
Hello again. Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. We are going through we're ending
Wrapping up the summer series. Summer's a wrap.
The 7th. Who knows your kid best? We have gone through every one of our children, our 7 children, and we are landing on the 7th. 7th, would you say the best child, McCade?
Obviously.
Took us 7 to get to the perfect one.
Yeah.
He really is perfect. No, when he was born, the banner over his life was, "Oh, I love him." That's what I said as soon as I saw him. "Oh, I love him." He was just the most adorable newborn. He had a head full of hair and he was just gorgeous. He was just so beautiful. And I had 6 newborns before that, so I knew how fast the newborn stage goes. And so I just adored him from the moment that I met him. Until now. What, you're 16 now?
So welcome, McCade.
Thank you.
Some people struggle with the name. We ran out of M names, so we had to start doing MCs. Mackenzie, McCade. This is MCCADE, McCade. So,
well, I love the name Cade. It means purity. And I actually wanted to name him William to be a W, but everybody was like, "No, Mom, you can't not name him an M. He has to have an M."
Yeah, he will feel left out.
He will. Yeah. Would you have felt left out?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, they knew it.
So now his middle name's William. So I call him William a lot. So So we were talking before the podcast, like growing up, you said a lot of your siblings were already old people in your mind. But what do you remember about your siblings and about just growing up in the house?
I remember, I don't know, playing games with Maddox, especially because he was kind of like my buddy growing up. So we played like imaginary games. We came together like against Michael, I guess you could say.
Because Michael is the evil older brother.
Yeah, I would say bigger, older. I wouldn't say he was evil, but he was definitely bigger and harder to challenge. So we could take on both of us. And then the sisters.
One of the things I remember about you at that age, and still, is you were so tough. I mean, you would do things like, you were 3 years old and jumping off the top bunk, trying to hit the beanbag chair. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you didn't.
Well, I remember we've got a video of him doing a backflip off the top bunk onto a beanbag chair.
Yes, he climbed everywhere. He was, and 7th kid, just so on his own. I remember one time we had some bars that were up on the 3rd shelf of the pantry. And
some like eating bars,
like like nutrition bar, like energy bars or whatever. And I walk in there, and you have scaled the pantry walls to get your energy bar and just stuff like that. And then things that would normally, if you fell or hit your knee or something, I would be like, okay, here comes. I've had 7 kids.
Wow.
Here comes the cry, and he'd be like, okay, whatever, and just walk it off. Just still to this day, really. High pain tolerance, a real tough kid. Do you remember that? And you would, because you would go up against Michael. How old's Michael? How many years older than Michael than you?
6, I think.
So yeah,
yes.
And think about when he's like 5 and Michael's 11, and they would go up against each other in football and things like that, right?
Yeah. I tried my best. Didn't really work out that much. But I tried my best. Many times I got thrown around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do you remember? You remember playing as a little kid? What about
I remember the times where you worked at Liberty and then all the siblings were at school. And so we had like a year or 2 that me and you kind of hung out every day. And we kind of just did our own thing. And I watched some YouTube, played some games.
Were you at school with her?
It was just me and him.
At home.
And everybody else was at school, yeah.
Yeah. And so she would work only Fridays, and I would go to like some random person's house and like they would babysit me. But every other day we kind of just like hung out, and we had like traditions from like going to Rose's and like having the food. It's like we had the same meal and had the same sopapillas every time because it's like our tradition now. And so just like, I don't know, I feel like me and Mom bonded from that.
And so the joke in the family is that we didn't really parent McCade, that his siblings parented him a lot. Because we had a lot of girls, teenage girls in the house when he's growing up, right?
Yeah, the baby of the family. That's what I think when they handed me McCade after he was born, it was like he had 5 mothers at that point. I mean, because Molly was 17 years older than you, and so. Yeah. They very much.
We said we told people we kind of moved immediately into grandparenting.
Most definitely, definitely. I say McCade's the easiest kid to raise, and he laughs because he's like, "Well, that's because you didn't raise me. Your sisters did."
But was that hard growing up with a bunch of? Did you feel
like they were bossy? Were they mean? Were they?
I don't know. I don't really feel like they were too bad. I feel like they're really loving, and they almost always brought me into like their friends or something. So I feel like that was what gave me that confidence because I'm like. Oh, I'm hanging out with high school girls already. It's like kind of like,
and you're 4.
Yeah, and I'm like intending, and they're all watching me or something. Like I remember, I went through like a breakdancing phase, I could say, which I didn't really know how to breakdance, but like I would dance for them, and they would all like say I did it really good, and so it was a really random time, but that's what I did, and I tried to.
How old were you then?
Maddox was in middle school, like 6th grade, so I was probably 3rd grade.
Oh yeah, okay.
So yeah, I am super confident. That's definitely one of the qualities I would say that you have, that you are. And I think that it's, I think it's how God created you and made you, but I think that we fed that into you too, because you were just adored. Like anything you did was just amazing and incredible, and everybody loved it. And Maddox was such a good big brother to you to take you along and show you the things. You guys shared a room for forever, didn't you?
Well, yeah, we went till...
This house, yeah.
Yeah. It was probably
it's till 2013, and you were born in 2006, so that'd be about the first 7 years of your life.
Yeah.
I think I was 9.
When we moved here? Did my math
and I remember putting you in school in 1st grade, which was, I put the boys in 3rd grade and the girls in 6th grade and homeschooled them until then, but I decided to go to work full time at Liberty, so we put Kate in 1st grade. Tell us a little bit about that. You remember?
It was definitely different. I've been homeschooled like the whole time, and it was just a different dynamic of like being with people every day and just like learning how to do school. I wasn't the great at spelling, and so that was a little difficult.
Yeah, spelling was tough, but what were you really good at?
I was really good at math. I really loved math. I don't know why it was, but like I have this memory. I don't know why it's like a vivid memory, but like I had the math book. It was like I think the 1st grade math book, and I was in kindergarten.
Right. Because
I like blew through the kindergarten math book. It's like 1 + 1 was way too easy. And so I like, Mom and Dad were getting ready to go to bed, and I like walk in there. I'm like, I want to solve this math problem. How do I do it? How do I do it? And they're like, I'm getting ready. And then Dad's like showering. He comes out. He's like, just go to bed. It's a math book. You can do it tomorrow. And so, yeah, I really like math.
Yeah, I remember about your first grade teacher adored you. Do you remember Mrs. Brown? Do you
remember?
No,
it's Mrs. Wood.
You're right. I always called her Mrs. Brown, but you're right. It's Mrs. Woods. She was incredible, and she just loved you. And I remember telling her, okay, so listen, he's the 7th kid, and he's adored, and he pretty much gets whatever he wants. And I said, and he's like a wiggle worm. And she goes, that's great. Then we'll make sure he doesn't have to sit in his chair. And do you remember you stood and did your schoolwork at your desk most of the time?
Well, and even before he went to school, that's what I remember walking in when y'all were homeschooling. He'd be like on his head. On his head. And just, it's like, wow. You just never are still. And so, how did you deal with that? I mean, and you in terms of, that disrupts all the teacher orientation of how to teach people. Yeah,
well, I mean, for sure, if Molly had stood on her head when doing school, I would not have allowed it. But by this point, I had progressed to McCade and just understood that the kid is who they are, just to accept them and let them do it. I mean, and he was killing it in school on his head, so why not let him just continue to do that? And I actually think the school system has shifted a lot, and they've got balls that the kids can sit on, and they let them stand. And so I think that there's a lot more flexibility flexibility now. I mean, and then those of you moms that are homeschooling that are trying to make it be traditional, oh my goodness, home is flexible. Do, bend toward your child's bent. What are they good for? If they're wiggle worms, then, I mean, and I think that we probably did school for about an hour a day, if that even. And some days we didn't even do it when you were little bitty. So.
Well, you grew up, and you still have a lot of freedom for a child. I mean, part of it's seventh child, part of it is a lot of things we've learned in parenting. Some of the things we teach kids is parenting. Do you like that freedom?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go against it.
I don't think you know any different though.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing as people always say, like, do you like being the seventh child? I'm like, I don't know any different from being a seventh child from a fourth child. It's like what I've lived with, and so.
But do you look and see what your other friends, other people are dealing with in life, and their parents and things like that? What would you say? How, does it feel good for you to, or does it feel like sometimes that that we're not paying attention to you or something like that?
I was about to say, yeah, like.
Yeah, kind of have this like accepting parenting. I don't know how to explain it, where it's like, you make a mistake, we'll fix it, we'll talk about it, which I feel like a lot of people that have like parents is like they do the tiniest mess up and they are punished at like something random, or they like, it's just like random things of like, they don't even have conversations with their parents. It's kind of like discipline the whole time, and they can't like trust them at all, because like if they bring something to them, then they lose something.
The kid can't trust the parent.
Right.
Yes. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And so now we talk about that a lot, and so we're probably, and we have moved over time, and now with you very much on that side. How does that make you feel versus, I think it's a great thing to talk about, how does that make you feel versus how do your friends feel when they're dealing with their parents?
It honestly affects their mood a lot. Of like, I feel like I'm able to like keep a happy mood and like not have to worry about like, oh, my parents are gonna get on to me. I have to worry about this. I have to text them. I have to call them. I have to make sure they have my location. I have to like do all these different things of like when I'm hanging out with people, and it really like ruins the time with people. Or if they're like in an event, or if they're like doing sports or something, they just like are always pressured by their parents to be doing the right thing.
Because in effect, they're always worried about their parents being mad at them.
Yeah.
And then that really inhibits their freedom to have fun at the event that you're at. Is that what you're saying?
Not even having fun, but like even like having intentional conversations, because like we'll have times where like people will just like go on their phone to text their parents because their parents like need them at that moment, or like even in like small group, a lot of people text like their parents texting them to saying, where are you at, you need to be home. And so it's like they're with trusted people usually. Like we hang out with church people, it's like we're not doing stupid stuff.
That's good.
And so it's like they might not know that, but I feel like it just gets too much pressure on them. And once the kid is pressured, they want to deviate, and they like tell someone they don't want to do the right thing, or like tell someone to do something, they're going to do the other thing sometimes, or like usually, because they want to deviate, and they want to like, that's what teenagers do. And so like you can tell them what the right thing is, but just be like, if you mess up, we're here for you, and we're going to make it like help you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's one of the things that I'm surprised about is how responsible you are. I do feel like that as the seventh child, I'm distracted with everything else that's going on. Now it's with grandbabies, and like just yesterday you called and said, hey Mom, I need to register for the UIL and all this stuff. How does it tell me a little bit about how you became responsible, or in spite
of all our parenting freedom, how did you become responsible?
I mean, I'm just thinking, because like usually the baby of the family is like spoiled rotten, right, and taken care of and coddled and babied, if you will. And do you feel like you've been babied?
I feel like a lot of problems have been like solved because you've basically figured out like how to do high school, how to do college, and how to like figure out how to do like around the system or doing stuff like that. So I feel like you've done that for a lot of things, but it's also like if there's a problem ahead of me, I'm not just gonna like go away from it. I'm not gonna inconvenience you. And especially whenever you've been like helping with the sisters and like being away in college, it's like I need to fix my own problems. I need to like come to Dad, or I need to like get somebody else. And so it's like I can't pressure people with like a burden that which I can solve myself. And so it just like allows me to do my own problem solving, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you feel like that was something you made a decision on at some point? Like, okay, my mom and
Is
dad.
absent.
Yeah. My mom and dad have a lot going on, 7 kids, and they've given me all this freedom. I need to step up and be this kid, or, because some kids could have taken advantage of it and tried to, I want to talk about that in just a minute. But I mean, do you think that was there ever a time you just said, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to be, or did it just kind of evolve?
I think I was just more like annoyed about not solving something. Of like, if I sat around and just like let y'all come and do it for me, then I would have to wait like a week or two because like y'all are solving all the other kids' problems.
Or else we missed the deadline completely.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I need to do this by myself, and I need to like figure it out. And so yeah, that's kind of like what I had the mindset of like, I need to fix my problems. I can't just.
And so a story comes to mind of when this probably was set into motion. And I don't remember what grade you were, but it was lower school. And remember how you had to bring that book and have me sign it every day?
Yeah.
And there was one time that you didn't bring it to me, and I for sure didn't remind you, and you had to walk at recess. And I mean, you had to walk it, whatever. I think that was one of those consequences that happened that set in your mind in motion that if I want to make it happen, I need to be proactive.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I want to bring out here is, I think I see so many, we've always told our kids, with responsibility comes freedom. Yeah. That as you show responsibility, you kind of earn freedom in our house. And because, if you're going to do a bunch of bad stuff, then I got to put more restrictions on you and things like that. But with responsibility comes freedom. And what you were saying a minute ago, with some certain kids that are good kids, they don't have freedom, even though they are responsible. And so one of the things, parents, is to really look at your kid and say, like McCade's a kid that, if we're going to leave at 7:30, he's going to be downstairs at 7:25.
Or 7:20.
Yeah, I mean, and so because
he'd like to be driving off by 7:25.
Yeah, what we're talking about is who knows your kid best. And so if you know your kid and they are responsible and they tend to get things done, or they tend to, do the right thing, that's a great opportunity, parents, to give them freedom. Yeah. And to let them live and to let them feel that freedom, that you are proud of them. You are, you believe in them. You believe they're going to do the right thing. And because it really does, I think, McCade, what you're seeing with some of your friends that are responsible, that it completely exasperates them because they feel like their parents don't trust them, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that, even speaking into that a little bit more, that, one of the ways to extend that trust is to give your child some touch points. And so for like McCade, if he's going somewhere that I'm uncomfortable where he's driving, then I'll say, will you text me once you get there? And so he'll text me, hey, I'm here. And then if he's out, then he'll text me, hey, I'm home, or I'm on my way home. And so he's actually communicating with me. I'm not reaching out. I'm letting him communicate with me. And so that might be a place where you can build some freedom with your teenager a little bit, is for them to communicate with you instead of you constantly checking up on them.
And just realizing they're a person. And, when we don't like I don't like somebody to put a bunch of rules on me.
Where are you now, Don? Where are you now, Don?
or I don't like people judging my actions when, giving me, especially when I'm doing the right thing. Our teenagers are much like that too. And again, this doesn't count if your teenager's doing bad things. If they don't, earn the trust, it's different. But so many teenagers, I think, will respond so much better if the parents would just give them some freedom and let them be responsible. It almost becomes like McCade said, he wants to do the right thing because it matters to him and he wants to make it happen.
So another hot topic, Kate, I want to talk about, because you're right in the middle of teenagerness, and I think that parents are hungry for information on how to connect and communicate with their teenagers. So I feel like that you could talk to your parents about anything. You could bring anything to us. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah.
So what would you say to these parents out there who don't feel like their teenagers telling them stuff? What would you say to the parents so that they could connect with their teenager?
Yeah, what would open up those lines of communication?
You're always going to have like something like you're not going to tell your parents just because like it's weird. It's like personal stuff, I guess you could say. Like, I don't want like you to know something just because it's like weird, and I don't want you to like look at me in a different way. It's not like a bad thing. It's just like, a weird thing. And so I think there's always going to be something that you're not going to tell your parents. I think the best way that y'all have like opened up communication was like car rides. You kind of like made it intentional of like, hey, we're going to like talk during this time. You don't really say it, but like you kind of just like ask questions like, how's your day? How are you doing? And it's like the normal questions. And then also like kind of being in our lives, I guess you could say, just like being with the people, like knowing the parents. And so you would just know the people and be like, oh, how's he doing? How's y'all's friendship going? Like, what'd y'all do? And like also when we come home, y'all would ask us like questions like what we did or like what we were going to do. So like
I think a lot of parents start to try to do that, and then but it doesn't really work. And so what do you feel like, makes it work, not just for you, but, maybe some of your friends as well, or just people that you know, and what makes it work? What do you see in parents that makes it work that their teenagers are willing to talk to them? You're the only one? You're the only one that can...
Well, think about it for a second, because this, as you said that, I was thinking of this example. So last night, Cade came home, and I visited with him for a second. I don't know what time you got home, 11:30, 12, whatever. And he was telling me some of the things they did. And one of the things they did was pile a whole bunch of people in a car. And I think that was hysterical, and it was so much fun. And I think that if some parent he might have told that to, the parent would have freaked out. Wait, you did what? Did y'all drive anywhere? Did you go anywhere? Did you do anything? I mean, how many people did you get in there? I mean, how'd y'all do seatbelts? And freaked out. And so, but kid number 7 coming along, a baby, I'm thinking, what a fun way to have clean fun. What a silly thing for teenagers to do, to be, outside the box, but not breaking the law or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that happens a lot with your friends with some friends that they're
like they would never tell their parents what you guys have done, even though y'all have done good, clean fun?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, they're just scared of maybe not even like a consequence, but just like judgment from their parents of like, they're just going to push down on them or like, just overreact. That just is not needed. And so they don't feel comfortable telling just the things that they're doing in like the normal life. And it's like simple things. Like we do random stuff that is teenager stuff, but it's also, we're not getting drunk. We're not getting high. We're not doing stuff like that. And we're like, it's better clean fun than that. Like, as you said, clean fun, but it's like, it might be a little dangerous sometimes, but teenagers are going to do dangerous things. And so just like, if
you're
it's
invincible,
And so it's like
cliff jumping. Y'all did that one time where y'all were jumping off cliffs into the water.
The cliff jump, we jumped off and you had to like climb back up to the cliff because there's like wet rocks, which is fun. And it's like, it's an activity you can do because teenagers sit there and they're bored and they don't want to talk the whole time. So they're going to find an activity. And so if it's not like alcohol, drugs, and sex, then it might be a little dangerous, but it's not like extreme, but like,
right.
You just kind of have to be a little accepting of it.
And so another hot topic I think that parents would be interested in, since we have you as a, captive audience here as a teenager, is technology. You pretty much don't have very many parameters when it comes to what we put on you. What would you say to parents who are on their kids all the time about technology?
I think it's very like invading of their personal space, because like a phone, yes, you can do a lot on it, but if you're like constantly checking it, then they can't like really use their phone. It really seems like it's someone else's phone, and so they're always like scared to talk on it, scared to do something with it. Like, I'm not do something, but like text somebody or make plans because they think their parents are going to get the phone and just like do something and just like punish them for like words that you can't even tell because you're reading from another conversation. Like, you can't tell what their like tone was because it's text. And so people just can get taken out of context. Like, I had this one person that got a selfie from a friend sending an outfit. Like, it was a girl and a guy. He got a selfie from an outfit, and she was like saying like, hey, do you like this outfit? Like, asking whatever. And his parents grounded him for a week. And it wasn't a revealing outfit. It was like completely like church clothes, like not at all. Yeah. But it was like a mirror pic, and so they were like, no, it's unacceptable. And so it's just like really on to him of like, it's really not that big of a deal. It's like, you've already, like, they've seen that. They're going to church. They're going to see the outfit. And so it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Well, and so what are some parameters that you've put on yourself? Because I know that at one point you had some apps and now you don't. And there was some things that came up on your feed and like, what do you do about that? How do you even, because I think parents come in like, oh my gosh, but as a teenager, what is it that you put into place that you could even tell parents to help their teenagers or even talk straight directly to teenagers?
A great thing that Dad put on all of our devices was Covenant Eyes. It's like this little thing that like doesn't allow you, it's like another browser that doesn't allow you to look at like nude images and stuff like that. So that was really helpful to not have the temptation to look at it on my devices. And then social media, I kind of just like, I spent a lot of time on it, and there was a lot of like things that you just like come up that is girls. I mean, you're going to look at it as a teenage boy. And so there's just a point where I was just like, I don't like seeing this anymore. Or like, I would like seeing it, but I don't want to like keep looking at it anymore.
Love that.
And so I was like, I need to stop looking at this. And so currently I only have a social media called Be Real, which is like, it's a one-time post, which is your post is posted to everybody. And so it's like nothing is like inappropriate. And it's like basically an update of like what you're doing that day.
So it's community. So you've got accountability.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's like, so it's like one social media I have. And yeah, it was a pretty, that's really the only things. Instagram, you can't control your feed. TikTok, you also can't control your feed. It's like the next swipe, you don't know if you're going to see a funny joke or a girl. And then Snapchat is the same thing because they have like a little social media part.
Yeah.
And it's also just like it's like removable communication, like you're not accountable. And so I liked it. It was nice for a while because it kept me connected with people, but I realized I could probably text without it. And all the people I was texting like had text or I could like have their number, and so I was like, I don't really need these people on Snapchat, and so that's why I got rid of it.
So you choose to communicate with people. I think that's a huge thing to talk. Again, okay, so parents, what could you do with this? You could go and corral your teenager in the room and say, okay, from now on, we heard from McCade, and he's just doing text, and all your friends be mad at you. And so please, parents, don't do that. But we have a lot of discussions with McCade about technology, and hey, and then he comes to us and says, hey, I want to do this or whatever. What if you just have the conversation, hey, teenager, what if you just tried to communicate? What if you tried for a week just to communicate through text and not through Snapchat, because text is a lot safer and it would help you. Something like that. Do you think the teenagers would be receptive to those kind of conversations versus putting down all the rules? How would you recommend that parents engage that conversation with their teenager?
I'm not sure if it's like saying to remove it, because like a lot of community is on those social media, and like a lot of people, if they disconnect from it, especially if they're like out of it, then they do lose friends, I guess you could say, which is not the best friends.
Connection with friends.
Yeah, it's like a lot of connection of like, there's a lot of group chats on Snapchat that people have, and so that's like accountable because like everyone's there, and like there's always like a screenshot or a saving the picture, so it's like it's not completely removable, but I don't know how you approach the conversation. I guess you could say like ask like what they're looking at or what's like on their feed of like what they like to watch or something.
Is there a way that parents can, you were talking about how when parents watch their phone all the time and and it makes it feel like I think it's a great point you said, it makes it feel like it's not their phone. Is there a way, or have you seen a way that parents, like, we don't really look at your stuff a lot and we give you a lot of freedom and there's a lot of trust built up over time, but let's say that, parents are just now stepping into some of this realm and they want to do it better. Is there a way that that parent can look at what the kid's doing in a way that's not as invasive to the kid?
I'm not sure how you get on the phone without basically going into their personal stuff, because it's like, I don't know, just checking out what they do. Because like I don't think you would like if I came onto every one of your conversations and looked at what you were texting, because that's just like a little weird, just like your conversations. So I'm not sure how
it's just a little bit too personal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of like, yeah. That's
so what I've taken out of this, and I just want to kind of sum it up and move on to siblings actually, but is that I appreciated what you said about that, to be treated as a person, to have personal space, that's where, kind of where technology is, to keep the open lines of communication. And just as I look at McCade and what he's done, he's kind of been on his own journey. And with those different apps that he used those, but he came to his own conclusion not to do that. And that's our goal, parents, is that self-control, not parent control, especially in that teenage season. Our goal is to teach them to put their own boundaries up. And so for you decided that Snapchat and TikTok, they weren't working for you. They weren't putting into you what you wanted to see. And so that's the journey your kids are going to go on, and you can help them. I don't know how much Don and I helped McCade, but I know that your church group probably did, your accountability did, your brothers did. I think all of them speaking into his life. And so that's another place where we can speak truth into our kids.
And honestly, removing, I've seen many people on Snapchat and on Instagram and all those different social medias of their parents don't allow them, but they'll find a way to get on Snapchat.
Always, yeah.
And so it's you can let them have Snapchat and be sneaky about it, or just stop them and not stop them, but just let them have it and just be responsible and yes, I allow you to do it. Just I guess monitor the conversations the best you can without being
conversations.
Yeah.
What are you seeing on Snapchat? Is there anything for you? Is there anything against you? Are you seeing more bad than good? Can you delete the negative feeds? Yeah, just kind of have those back and forth conversations, because parents, everything that the world presents to our kids, whether it's technology, drugs, sex, all the different things, that is another opportunity for us to connect and relate to our kids. That's another place for us to guide and direct them.
We've had lots of conversations, and you have more than I do, Suzanne, but about the apps that, and so often, I think we said this in the last podcast too, but worth repeating. Ask your kids to have them teach you about the apps.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't get Snapchat. Would you show me? And McCade, I bring my iPhone problems to McCade all the time. I can't figure out this setting or whatever. And
my story about McCade was when he was 3 or 4 years old. He was posting pictures on my Facebook on my phone that I didn't even know how to do. It's dude, how'd you do that?
But when you become the student, parents, it allows you to engage with your teenager at a whole different level.
Yeah, not threatening.
Yeah. So
I want to transition now to siblings, because so many times that teenage scene, the siblings don't get along. And so how do you get along? You're the youngest, so it's a little bit different, but how do you get along with your siblings, and how would you, help parents tell their teenagers to be nice to their, older siblings or younger siblings, to not be a brat? I don't feel like you were ever a brat. How did you?
I mean, I guess the siblings were always just don't do that, you're annoying. And so they're kind of hard on me of if I ever was doing something, they would be on to me, I guess. I also think they weren't too mean to me of they would help me when I needed help.
So
and
they
so I would
bully. They didn't necessarily bully you.
Yeah. And so that's, I think it was just they already had relationships, and so they brought me into the relationships of y'all have the rules of you don't hurt your sibling, you don't do whatever, and so it's you have all these different, it's not really rules, but just the things the Mannings don't do that, the Mannings don't do this, and so it's the friendship of having them, and I have family, I have people to be behind me, and so why leave that, and why hurt them, and why bully them? There's no reason. They're gonna live with me, they're gonna come home with me, and so it's been really great. And then I think we also had small group was a big thing, especially for me, Michael, and Maddox, and when I was small group with them. And I think the sisters had the bond from small group too, of we went to church together, and we went to hangouts together, and they brought us up, and they kind of has this thing of the oldest sibling brings the youngest sibling to the things, and so it kept on going down. That's what I saw, at least from at least Macy to down. I'm not sure if Madeline and Molly did it.
Yeah, that's good.
But
because you weren't born yet.
I wasn't born. I haven't really heard the stories, but yeah, it was kind of they brought him to the small group, and that's kind of how I'm in my friend group now. Of Maddox kind of was what started from basically maybe Macy. And it's just kind of trickled down of this is the church group at Valley Creek. It just kind of trickled down of different people that have went to the small group. And so we have had multiple different leaders, people have went in from college and like done different things. We're saying goodbye to like all the seniors right now because they're all leaving, and so it's just like came
and
down.
You're going to be a sophomore, so you're talking about a 3-year difference in those age groups. So you've got in that friend group is kids of multiple grades,
seniors, sophomores, juniors, senior.
Yeah, I think we have every grade in our group, like multiple people from every grade. Of it's just like grades really don't matter because like as you're older, it doesn't really matter. And so we kind of just like brought the younger people in, and like currently we're raising younger people of like they're gonna bring up, and then we're gonna bring 8th graders in, and then we're gonna bring 7th graders in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I joined in like probably 8th grade is when Maddox really brought me in because I was like classified as a freshman in Valley Creek because we wanted to do that. And so I started going there at that point, and I was friends with a lot of them since I've been at middle school hub. And so yeah, it was just kind of a friend group that we've raised up and we're working with now, and we're still hanging out with them, and so they're pretty solid.
That's good. Okay, the question that came to mind is who would you say is the biggest pest in our family?
Michael.
No, we all voted you.
Oh yeah, me after. I thought like I was excluding me. I'm the biggest pest, but then Michael's the second biggest pest.
And so how do you be a pest without being a brat?
I don't know. I don't know how much it annoys people because some people get really annoyed about like pestering. I don't know what the word would be.
I think pestering's right. That was good.
And so I guess it's like you can kind of tell when they get annoyed. And so once you like kind of push them and they're like, stop, and they like get really mad. But like if it's still kind of a joking manner, then you're kind of fine. And so I really just kind of like mess with them. The older siblings, I'm way smaller than, well, I'm bigger than most of them now.
The sisters, you outgrew them.
But so like if they really wanted to, like if they're really annoyed, then they can like push me away or like stop me or something. But
that's getting harder and harder though as you grow, as you're growing into yourself.
And so yeah, it was just kind of like messing with them a little bit in whatever way I could. I don't know why I did it, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that definitely. And you bridge the gap really well to the grandbabies. Because they're kind of like, does it feel like they're your little brothers and sisters? Like because you never had anybody after you, everybody else did.
I want to say little brothers, sisters. I kind of know them as my nephews.
Yeah, because it's a big gap. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know they're like really tiny, and so it's kind of fun to like be the older brother and throw them around and like throw them on the couch, or whatever. Because I didn't really have that as a kid, but yeah, that's kind of what it's been like.
Yeah, so Cade's happy-go-lucky. We don't know exactly what his Enneagram is, but I would say it's probably a 7 on the. Would you say that? And didn't Michael test you a little bit?
It's just numbers to me. I don't know.
I know. But he's just he likes to have a good time. He likes to have fun. He will have a deep conversation, but he usually brings the fun.
Somewhat, would you say you're extroverted? That you?
Yeah. There's a point where I'm like dead and I can't do anything. I have to have my sleep. And so if like there's a time where I'm like too much with people and I don't have my sleep, then there's a point where I die and I'm too tired to talk to people. I'll still talk and I'll still like do stuff, but like the big thing is that my eyes, like I can't keep them open. And so like I could probably have a conversation with my eyes closed and I'll be fine. But
and you're an internal processor, right? And so he has to think it out a lot. And so to have a deep conversation with him is kind of like with me. It's hard. You got to draw them out. And then the other quality that I just think is a gift from God as the last kid, as kid number 7, is that you're pretty black and white. Like you see what's wrong and you see what's right. Is that true? Tell me a little bit about your thinking on that.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as like stupid or right, I guess you could say, of like, that's dumb. Why would I do that? And so that's kind of how I've seen right and wrong of why I do that. I do a lot of like, not really pros and cons, but you could say pros and cons of like, this is going to do this for me, and it's going to do this bad for me. What do I want good for me? Like I want more good. If there's more bad, then it's like, I don't want that. And so that's kind of like how I lived for a lot of time.
Well, it's a good
super
segue.
Logical, matter of fact.
Yeah, it's a good segue too in your relationship with God. So like, where would you say, we talk to parents a lot about how from 12 to 16, a lot of thoughts about owning your own faith, developing your own relationship with God, your own disciplines with God, things like that. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
I really didn't really know God till like probably 6th grade, 7th grade was whenever I kind of got more involved in Hub and like small group and like talking about what's going on, because like it's really confusing. I still don't know everything, but of like getting involved in the church more and like having small group and having worship and like getting involved in stuff and like going to events of like, okay, this is what's happening. And so my logical mind, I need to understand a lot of things. And so I didn't really understand a lot. And so once I really dug deep, especially this last year, I really dug deep into like watching podcasts, reading the Bible for myself, of like doing my own thing is what I really felt my faith rise. I feel like it's been building from 6th grade, but I really like dove deep this year. And so that's why I really felt connection. And then also like I started driving, and so
you felt connection with God.
Yeah. And so I've also been started driving, which means I get a lot more alone time, of like, I guess, forced alone time, where I'm like away from screens and I'm like driving on the road, which I feel like has been very nice, because I've been have conversations and worship time by myself of like, it's just me and him. And so that's where I feel like I've had the most connection. It's like basically this last year of following him.
Yeah, I want to just kind of summarize that a little bit and then go forward as well. But, you know, you were raised in a very Christian home. Your siblings are all believers, and mom and dad are super involved in the church and everything else. Yet still, it didn't start to make sense to you till you were in 6th or 7th grade, till you're 12, 13, 14 years old. Yes, exactly. I want parents to hear that. And then, you know, the real connection starts happening at 15, 16. I mean, that, you know, there's this, almost every child, we've seen this exploration of faith from 12 to 15 or so. And then 15 to 18 is when the relationship really starts to develop. And I just don't want the parents to miss that, because so often we see parents getting so concerned that their 10-year-old's not, you know, doing daily devotions and you know, and praying all the time.
And maybe your 10-year-old is, and yay for you.
Yeah, but we just haven't seen that. We just seen, even in our thoroughly Christian home, it still takes the teenage years, but you know, for the child to develop. And yet, you know, there's been some times you talked about how you're feeling closer to God. We were talking the other day, just kind of how you were feeling distant from God. It has some ups and downs, right?
I mean, that's every journey, is like, you're going to have ups and downs of your relationship, which you definitely see that of like, there's going to be like a temptation or an addiction that you're going to fall into of life, because like that's just like what the devil does. He gets you into things, and so there's going to be ups and downs. And as you like go more into the devil, or more into like sin, you're going to get more distance, and so you kind of like feel separated. But I guess he's always there, and so it's like you're going to come back. And so I guess life is like a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's spoken very true. I would say my relationship with God is a lot like a roller coaster too. You know, when I press in and pay attention to him, there he is. And when I avoid him and do my own thing, then I feel distant. So that's good.
As we wrap up, what would you say? So you have a child like McCade. What would you tell parents about parenting a child like McCade? Pretty responsible, extroverted, you know, on the right path. How would you tell them to parent you?
I would be like conversational, I guess, of like pursuing conversation, of saying, hey, we're trying to talk, what'd you do, and doing that stuff. But then also just like allowing, I guess, him or me, I don't know how to explain it.
What?
Allowing him to kind of like solve his own problems. I am a problem solver, of like, you can't really coddle the baby for too long. Of like, I feel like if y'all coddled me for too long, y'all would be like really burdened, because like dealing with another child, of like, there's already a lot of children. And so if you allow them to solve their problems, then they are able to solve them like the real world. Like 2 years, or 3 years, I'm going to be going to college. And if you keep calling somebody, then they can't do college. They're not going to do it by themselves. And especially with like limitations of like, I feel like y'all give me a lot of freedom, and so once I do go to college, I'm gonna have that freedom. I've already had
Figured
it here.
out. Yeah,
and I'm like, I can do it here. And so it's like, why not give them the freedom here and let them screw up here, and then fix it from here and not from college? Because if they're at college and they get all this freedom, like, what the heck, I can do all these things.
Yeah.
And you don't know what they're doing. Like, they're completely lost. And so if you let them have freedom here and screw up here, then you're there. You're next door. and so you can
That's good.
help them out.
It's very wise.
So Maddox is on his way to Arkansas. You're by yourself with us now for 3 years. Are you worried about are you worried about the next 3 years? Are you worried
feel
about
like now we're going to overparent you? Or are you going to be relieved that you're finally going to get parented?
We're going to flip back and become these controlling.
Where are you going down, McCade? Where are you going now? Hey, you want to get a pedicure? How about a manicure? How about go to the movies? You want to play? Come play with me, McCade.
Yeah, I think I'll be fine. I think I'll have time with friends. I know I might visit the siblings or go down with y'all if y'all do.
Yeah.
Football season makes me busy, and so currently very busy. But I feel like I'll figure it out, and it shouldn't be that hard.
Well, I think to me it feels a little bit like when it was just me and you and everybody was in school again. So it's like our second round of roses and, memories and traditions. Yeah, somebody said, are you ready to be an empty nester? And I said, no, I still got 3 more years with McCade. I'm not ready.
That's right. And wrapping up the whole series, Suzanne, anything you want to leave with people for the series?
Yeah. So God has given us, each child is a unique gift with its own packaging, and each of our children has their own, their own gifts and talents, and introvert, extrovert. I mean, all the different things, and so it's such a mystery, and it's such an incredible opportunity for you to press in and get to know your child, to ask the questions, to unravel who that child is and who God's created them to be, and let them be that without changing them or forcing them to be like you or like their siblings. And so I just want to encourage you, parents, to see the child as God sees them and to see those gifts that God's given them.
And that's our goal, is that we want you to interact with them, ask them questions, be live with them, and not just be like McCade was talking about, the parent that's always lecturing, always on their kids. It's always, you said something in the middle of the podcast about it being always discipline. And that for so many parents of teenagers and so many parents of even grade schoolers to teenagers, it becomes all about discipline, all about and very little about connection
and relationship. Like, what if you change the perspective to relationship and not discipline?
Yeah, and every kid's different. You're going to have to relate to each one of them differently, and you think, oh wow, this is hard, but it is, but it isn't, because once you get into it, and it just becomes so much fun. I mean, we have so much fun with McCade, and it's a fun relationship, and we enjoy him every day because we know him, and we pursue that relationship. So anyway, who knows your kids best? We hope it's you, parents, and we hope you go back and listen to every one of the podcasts from this summer, the 7 podcasts. We think you'll really get a lot out of that. So if you're just now getting into this, go back and listen to the other ones and see what happens when you can know your kids best. So go be crazy parents, crazycoolfamily.com.